Hello, Freedom Team. I'm Angela Patteson, Emerald Ambassador. This is our Monday Night Live. I'm so excited to host tonight all about retention. So I want y'all to really get out your notes, get your pens ready, be ready to not only be listening, because we have two fantastic, amazing women who I personally know them, I love them, and they are incredible tips to be sharing with us tonight. And also, I want y'all to be thinking about questions while they're sharing that you might have.
Okay, thank you.
The line.
All right, bye.
Angela, hold on one second. I'm going to mute everybody and then Angela, because people keep coming in and then not being muted, and then you can go ahead and unmute. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and be allowing these amazing ladies to share their top tips on retention. And I know if you're anything like me, I came into this in really recruiting is my strength. And I was just recruiting all the people, but then I found myself not retaining as well as I wanted to. And that has been an area that I have been really focusing on myself and my team has been focusing on. And so I'm really excited to host this because this has been the area, y'all, this is so important. One of the 4 pillars, and it's so important to have good retention, or else it's like a leak in the bucket, right? You keep filling it in with more people and then you keep losing them. We don't want that. This is how we're going to continue to grow and continue to go through the ranks. And also, we're going to help the people feel their best, right? This is how we serve them amazingly. So I cannot wait to hear what Madison Savage and Saira Petty have to share with us tonight as they're going to talk. Again, I want y'all to be in the chat, putting good questions in there. And as we find some great questions, I'm going to probably call on some of those questions and they will answer them at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and have Saira Petty. I want you to start with us. Are you on?
Yep, I'm here.
So I want you to tell us, you have had some incredible, just solid retention for a long time. And I want you to just share with us what your top tips are, what you've done, what has worked for you, so that we can just learn from what you have done well.
Okay, sure. So I thought I would start with talking about long-term customer care retention, mainly because, and total transparency here, I'm working on recruiting right now. So I also came in heavy recruiter, and then I was worried, how am I going to hold on to all these people? And thank goodness we have systems for that. So you don't have to think about that, especially if you're brand new and bringing a lot of people in. But once I got through that stage, I started working on long-term customer care. So I'm going to give you some tips there. This is for people who have already gone through the full 90 days. You've done all the things with them already. And maybe these are the people who are ordering month after month, and they don't really need much from you, and they don't really ask you many questions. And you might feel tempted to be like, okay, they're good, I don't need to check in on them anymore. But these are really like solid people that are truly your VIPs that you want to treat like true VIPs, and they will turn into just valuable assets for your business. So, so here are some tips. I have some notes, if that's okay. Take an interest in them. We do a lot of like business stuff with them, like here's this video and this resource, et cetera, et cetera. But once you get past that 90 days and you don't need to be, all over them with the Plexus stuff, like watch their stories and look at their posts, talk to them about non-Plexus things, check in with them on their life, like you're building relationships here, and then add value back into them. So if there's something that they've posted about that they need help with, even if it's not Plexus related, if you could help with that problem, go help with that problem. But now you're making yourself a valuable asset to them in their life. And same thing with their health journey. If there's something in their health journey that they're struggling with that maybe Plexus can't help with, maybe it's not a direct thing that we have a solution for. If you found a book that could help them with that, like maybe it's like habits, and we read lots of books about habits. So you could recommend Atomic Habits to them, or send them an audio or a podcast or something like that. Again, like I consider these people like my true VIPs. So I treat them differently. Like first, I'm very professional, I would say, and have this kind of like professional rapport back and forth with customers, mainly because they're cold market for me. 90% of them are. But once we've been with each other for 90 days, then I start treating them like friends and like insiders, you know, so I talk to them a little bit differently. I make sure that they're the first who get seasonal samples. So if there's anything that's new that came out, they're getting it first. And I let them know, like, you guys, you know, cucumber hydrate just came out. You're going to love it. I want to send you a sample. I also keep them in the know. And I talk to them like they are ambassadors. So if we had, you know, when we came back from convention, I told them about convention, knowing they're not ambassadors, but treating them like they are, like they know Plexus really well at this point. And I feel like that makes a difference in our relationship with each other. I also look at what they're ordering. So let's say you've had someone who's been ordering for 6 months and you assume that it's always triplex. Like, go check, see if, is it really triplex that they're ordering every month? Have they tried something new? Maybe they ordered ease for the first time, or they got it with their perks and you could see their order status. So go see what it is that they've tried. And then did they reorder it again? And then ask them, oh, I saw you tried ease last month. How did it go? You know, what were you using it for? And maybe if they tried something and then didn't reorder it, maybe they just didn't have the info that they needed on how to use that product properly. So let's say they had really bad joint pain and they tried only 1 capsule of ease a day and that just wasn't enough. And they didn't know that they can take as many as 6. You can be that person to be like, oh, here's what I do with ease, or here's like what I would recommend to add to that if that's the problem that you're having. We also, as a team, we do events every month, including product events. And these are mostly for prospects, but I always invite my VIPs, my customers, to them. And I tell them it's an opportunity for them to learn more about their products. I don't assume, okay, just because they've ordered, now they know everything that they need to know. There's always going to be something that they can learn from our product events. And then I tell them it's an opportunity for them to share. So if anybody's been interested in what they're doing, they can invite their friends to it too. So I keep them, you know, in the know that way. And then I get on the phone a lot. I do a lot of voice messages to them. And my tone with them is like, you are special to me. And I will go out of my way to do whatever it is that you need from me with your Plexus experience. If they're not comfortable with sharing, so they're not at that stage yet, they don't want to do a post, I'll ask them, can I share your testimonial to my page? And I'll say, I can make it anonymous if you want, or I cannot tag you if you don't want me to tag you, or I can just leave it as is. And then if I share their testimonial on my page or take a screenshot of like some of their wins or things like that, I want them to see the reaction that people are having, that they can see like, oh, my story does have impact. And then also, if I get off a welcome call and I've shared their story with someone who's just starting, I'll go tell them, hey, I shared your story today. And she was really excited to hear that you also, you know, had a hysterectomy and had a lot of inflammation and was able to resolve those issues through Plexus. And she was really inspired by hearing your story. So this adds value back to my customer because then they feel like, oh, my story does matter. It does have impact. Whether or not they're ready to share, they're still feeling like I'm doing something to help you too. And then finally, I make sure that I go above and beyond with customer service. You probably know this already, or you've heard this, that people only remember bad customer service because that's what like makes them really mad and they'll go write a bad review. They won't remember good customer service, and good is like baseline expectations. Like if they have a problem, you should be able to help them or find someone who can. Like that's just basic expectations of good customer service, but they will remember exceptional customer service. And exceptional means surprising. Like it should be enough for them to be like, oh my gosh, you didn't have to do that. So next time you're doing your customer care, you're checking in with your people, ask yourself, what can I do to go above and beyond for this person right now in a way that will surprise them in a really good, way. So I can give you an example. I had a customer who has been a longtime customer for me, and she ordered Reset when it was on sale and then didn't use it because it wasn't the right time for her. And then eventually decided to use it, but the Smart Snacks had expired. And she opened it up and she said it didn't look right. So I was like, you should call customer service. They can totally replace that for you. And she's like, yeah, okay, I will. So I followed up and I asked her, did you call customer service? What did they say? And she told me later, I didn't. I felt bad because I waited too long. It was my fault. I'm not going to call them. I feel bad. But I didn't want her to miss out on experiencing Reset. So I got off the phone with her and then I called customer service for her and told them the situation, and they replaced the Smart Snacks and shipped it to her for free. And so then I told her, oh, I called customer service for you. This is what happened. And she was so happy. And she was like, oh my gosh, you didn't have to do that. But I knew she wasn't going to do it. And I also knew if she doesn't, she's going to totally miss out on Reset. So she did the Reset. She got the new Smart Snacks. She lost 12 pounds. She was a super happy, very happy customer. But yeah, like 90% of my calls to customer service are on behalf of other customers. And so that's my way of going above and beyond. Because I always think in the back of my mind, I just like have this idea. If this person were to quit and then decide 2 years later to come back to Plexus, would they come back to me? Or would they come back to one of the 20 other people in their feed selling Plexus? I don't want them to be like, well, I don't really remember my experience with Saira, so I'll just go back. I'll go to whoever is the first person I see. Like, don't let that be you. Be memorable and provide above and beyond service. Okay, those are my tips. I hope I wasn't too long on time, Angela.
Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Thank you so much. That was so good. Like, I took tons of notes. So this is the thing I'm seeing though, how much value you're adding to your people, how much you really do love them. And I know I remember that about you on another call that you were on once. And I always noticed that about you. That is so amazing though, because you really are showing up for them and showing them so much love and care. And that is why they are going to keep coming back to you. So that's amazing. Thank you so much, because that was so good. So many things I wrote down. We'll get back to some of those in a minute, but I want to give spotlight now to Madison Savage. And by the way, I didn't say this, but Saira is a senior gold and Madison Savage is a senior ruby, and they both have done amazing things here. So Madison, I want to go ahead and let you take away with your tips and how you've changed some things recently that upped your retention. And yeah, just tell us all the things.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. I'm so humbled and honored to be on this call, because if you had asked me 6 months ago where my retention was at, I probably would have cringed. I would have felt uncomfortable, maybe get some sweaty palms, and even feelings of like guilt and shame, frustration, because my retention rate has not always been in the best place. And I remember even having a group Zoom call, and we were kind of all in the same place. We're like kind of frustrated about our retention, to be honest. And I realized then that this doesn't have to be the way that it always is in my business. And if it was going to change, then I needed to make a change. And retention really is so significant to our business as a whole. Just the whole overall health of our business relies on retention, because if the customers are happy, then they're going to continue shopping and they're going to share with their friends. And so I'm definitely somebody who, I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. So I'm somebody who likes success and hitting the goals and recognition and all the things. And so I sometimes lose focus of the long-term follow through. And so that's why I believe I struggled with some retention in the beginning, because I was just like getting in the quick joins and then, going after the next join and the next one. But what I've learned since then was I have got to take ownership for my business. That's the main thing that I want to get at, is like the major shift that happened for me was taking ownership that I am a business owner, and I am responsible for what happens in my business. And I have the freedom of that. I actually get to choose what I want. And I want to be a diamond. So I'm going to have to make some changes, right? And so I needed to make this a priority. So taking ownership, responsibility was the first step. And that came with mindset, because I didn't even realize. I mean, if I'm having all these feelings of frustration, then it begs the question, what is the thought behind that? And so it all went back to my mindset, and kind of a scarcity lack mindset almost. And I remember having conversations with Michelle about this, so that's why I'm like looking at her, just like seeing her smile. But so my mindset, like shifting that, changed my posture when I was talking to people, because I started to really believe that what I have for people is going to change their life, and I want them to get their results. I want them to experience the freedom that I've experienced. And so that changed my posture, and I began speaking out declarations every single day about my business, about who God says I am, and calling forth what is not yet as though it already is. And so naturally, I began telling myself, I am a master recruiter. I'm a master at retention, a master at duplication. I'm a leader that others want to follow. And I told myself that continually, day after day, and I still do. I have a notebook with my running list. And that has changed so much for me. And I'm telling myself, I have answers to people's biggest questions, their biggest needs, and God is sending me people that are looking for hope. And so when with that posture, then, I'm not thinking about just, running to the next sale or doing halfway work. I'm thinking about, how can I love and serve people well? And so before, I would kind of like settle for quick sales and kind of be go go go, and now I've slowed down and like look at people for who they are and look at them and hear what their need is. And so along with like changing my posture, um it has really like increased my belief in myself and in the products and in the opportunity. And so that's the first thing I just want to get at that point, is posture is everything, because you can use the retention system day in and day out, and you can send the right messages, but if you don't have the belief behind it, they're going to sense that, and they're going to feel a doubt. They're looking for you to be the one that they can put confidence in. People, they don't want to be sold to, but they want to buy, and they want to love what they bought. So let's help them love what they buy, what they purchase. And the second one would be connection. So posture and connection. And what I'm finding with most people who stayed on long term with me, I mean, I've really made this shift only in the past 6 months. So I can't say that I'm perfect at retention. I can't even say that I use every single one of the 10 touch messages in connecting with people yet, but I'm finding that most people who stay with Plexus long term are people who I've intentionally connected with in some way, not quick sales, not people who I didn't get on the phone with. So most people, when they get to a point where they're interested, I'm hopping on the phone with them almost right away if they're open to it. And if not right then, I'm hopping on as we're starting them on their products and getting their account set up. I feel like that is a really, really crucial step that I missed a lot in the beginning. And I'd be excited about getting that quick sale and like send them the link and have them do it all on their end. But I miss out on so much connection in real life when I don't do that. So getting them on the phone, asking them what their health goals are without just puking everything I know about Plexus, but asking them specific questions, hearing for the solutions that I know I have, but hearing their questions and their concerns, and then talking about the solution with excitement, using examples from, hey, my friend Katie struggled with that same exact thing, and you're going to see such results just like she did. And I'm so expectant for you. And so bringing in other pieces of belief while they're on the phone is so fun, one, but also it just is reassuring for them. And then some key ways that I like to help like cultivate connection would be just like sending a thank you card when they order and they put their first order through, just like taking 3 minutes. It doesn't take long at all, just to write a little thank you card, look at their order, their address is already in your back office, and just personalizing it to them and thanking them for taking this journey on like a health journey with you personally, and just reassure them how excited you are and the results that they're going to get and where they're going to be 30, 60, 90 days from now. Kind of set them up for that expectation that in 90 days and in this long-term journey, you're going to feel so much better. So that goes along with like setting realistic expectations, and that way they aren't questioning your integrity throughout this whole thing. If you set realistic expectations, they're not going to be like, wait, but you said this and this and that. But if they have that clear communication from the beginning, they're going to know they can trust you. And that's what is really the key. We want people to like, know, and trust us, right? And we like, know, and trust them, but we want to be that influencer in their life and to help them. And so letting them know that we're going to be communicating a lot, telling them that on the front end, like, listen, we're going in this together. I'm linking arms with you. We're going to get you seeing this success in your health. I'm so pumped for you. And telling them, listen, we're going to be talking a lot. We're going to get kind of personal. We're going to talk about your bowels, and that's okay because we want you to be feeling better. So emphasizing that is so key. And then let me see. I have some notes here that I'm trying to stay on track with. Okay, I'll also emphasize to not start the products until we chat. As soon as they get their products, I don't want them taking everything at once. I want us to chat beforehand and let them know that we're going to be tweaking things along the way. So they know that they're going to be coming to me with questions. They know we're going to be having back and forth about what's going on. Because some people have gotten started in the past in my business when I wasn't focused on this, and they'd take all the products at once, get upset about the feelings that they had, and then they turn their subscription off right away. And I had no clue about any of it because I didn't set the expectations of communication, and I didn't let them know ahead of time what the deal was with the regimen and that we were going to be in this together. And so that landed on me. And so I don't know, this is kind of untraditional, but I've started to do it recently, and I think it's a good idea. At least it's working for me. But I tell them up front, we're going to be starting with just 3 days of the pink drink, and then check back in with me, and we'll see where your bowels are at, and then we'll determine where you're going to go next, whether you're going to start with BioCleanse or ProBio or whatever, if it's triplex. Because I've found that I would kind of almost tell them, oh, you're going to start with BioCleanse after your 3 days, or I'd send the graphic, and maybe they needed something different. And so I just will share with them, we're going to connect back in 3 days, and that way we know what next step to take. And so that way they are feeling like I'm the one guiding them through it, and it kind of keeps them accountable to get back to me and to have that conversation so we can go back and forth. So that's honestly one of the things that I've fallen in love with. I actually really enjoy hearing about the successes, and I'm finding that people are having more successes because I'm setting them up with that excitement in the beginning, and they're willing to take their products. They're excited to get them in their body, but they want to do it right. So we're kind of working through all of that together. And so I do let them know we're going to get personal. We're going to get to the nitty gritty so that we can, one, just help you feel better. But also, I'm thinking, this is going to build trust when I'm asking them these personal questions, and we can just do this together. So it's really just come down to all of that to say, it's just kind of come down to a confidence in myself and my own mindset. So I, sound like probably every single person that could ever share about retention. It all goes back to mindset, or recruiting. It all goes back to mindset, but truly it does. And when that shifted, then I started to be postured differently and see people not through a lens of what I could get out of it, or the join or the quick points, but really to help them and to serve them and to love them well. And that is to help them get the results they're looking for. So that's what I got.
Thank you. That was amazing. So I just love everything that both of you said. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch this a few times because all of this was so incredible. But we have a few questions. If anybody has any more, we have a little bit of time. I'm going to go through some questions. I did want to point out, both of you really highlighted connection. And so that is something I'm seeing a trend in, is that you're really connecting and listening to your people's needs. And that's something we can all learn from, I feel like. But I'm going to go through a couple questions here. So let's, whichever one of you wants to answer first, but what is your best habit and why? Maybe Saira, you can go first. What is your best habit and why for retention?
So I'm in April's WAM chat, and she had us customize our own IPA sheets, which was awesome. And something that I put on there was customer care and minimum 1 customer care every day. So, so that's 6 days a week for me, 6 customer care touch points. And again, as I said, my recruitment isn't that high. So that means sometimes I'm going back to the same people week after week, and that only builds more rapport and connection and value with them. And then I never put anything on an IPA sheet that I'm not planning on doing. Like, hold yourself to it, like you're making yourself a promise. So if you write down that you're going to do something, like, hold yourself to that and get it done. And if you don't think you can do it, then make it a little bit less if you feel like it's really not going to happen. I don't know if that's good advice or not, but like, I feel like that's my habit, is stick to what you say you're going to do.
That's so good. So what about you, Madison?
Honestly, I believe it would be the declarations every morning. I don't know, I guess it's directly related to retention if I'm speaking on retention, but it really is the best habit I could have in any area of my business, because it's working on reinforcing what I want to believe about it, what I want to think about it.
So good. And I'll reiterate that because I have had to start telling myself I am a master recruiter, just like you. I am going to have a team that we're one of the highest retention rates in the company. And I've actually, now I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid to go in the back office and look, because I know I can help grow those numbers. And so whatever you believe, you're going to begin to walk out and see happen. But the next question would be, so one person did ask if y'all would send a few things, like in the chats, would send some examples of what you're saying to your people, how you're connecting. And then Amanda asked, what do you do with people when they're going to start with reset? We have 1 more minute, so.
I don't have a lot of reset people. Do you, Madison?
I don't have a lot of reset people, but when I have, I would start them typically on a couple weeks of triplex first to kind of get it in their system, in their body. And then when they do the reset, just make sure I'm like communicating a lot with them and asking them how it's going, and asking maybe even for like a photo with their favorite product or something like that. I'm kind of like thinking out loud of what I would do if I had more reset people. But yeah, just connecting extra when they're on the reset. I don't know if that answers the question, but
Yes, no, it was so good. And I say again, thank you so much for getting on here and sharing. I want to honor people's time. So I do want to close this up, but that was just amazing. And both of you have do such an amazing job of loving your people well. So I know that so many people are going to be talking about this call because there are so many great tips that y'all shared with us. And I do want to say that I just know that, like everybody here, we can change our retention rate. If it's not been good, 100% you can change it. You can start right now, start believing it, and make it happen. So anyway, thanks y'all for being on. Have a great night.
You.